I have waited for this movie for an absurd amount of time, so let's do this. Alright guys, gals, and everything in between, I'm here today to review to you Independence Day Resurgence. Alright, so Independence Day Resurgence is Roland Emmerich returning at the helm directing his disaster porn epic that he usually likes to make every couple of years. This time he's returning to something from 20 years ago. So, Independence Day Resurgence is about 20 years later, we've adapted with their technology, we are retooling it, and have created a utopia. But something doesn't seem right. And that is where we get our movie. Because the aliens are coming back, and they're just gonna be like, yeah, well, you won round one, so round two, here we come. It's basically the plot of the movie. So, I have to say, Independence Day is one of my favorite movies of all time. I watch it all the time on Blu-ray. And it is just, it's that simple popcorn fun movie that rides that fine line of just fun and So, where does this movie lie? I honestly feel like this is a good film. I mean, hang on. I'm not comparing it to some of the movies that have like actual storytelling. I'm just saying it's a fun movie, but I wanted it to be more. I still feel a little bit disappointed inside, but then I thought about it. There's a lot of people who are kind of harping on this movie, and when I saw what they thought, I was looking at it going, essentially, it's just not Independence Day 1. So this movie's fighting a losing battle, if you ask me, where it's an enjoyable movie, but people want to have it be this monumental thing that's better than the first one. And when you've ingrained something in 20 years of your life, is it really possible to live up to that? I don't think so. I think that when I watched the movie, I enjoyed it, but I was still a little let down. So once I had time to marinate with it, and I was talking to a buddy at my day job about it, and just the entire time he was like, yeah, and that sounds awesome. And I'm like, and then this happened. Yeah, and that sounds awesome. So it's one of those fun movies. I mean, the visuals are really what you're here for. You're not here for the cast, except for Jeff Goldblum. The story was kind of weak and linear, but that's what you're gonna get. The special effects, though, are incredible. But this is also where my first problem with the film lies, is the first Independence Day was really us versus them, and we were trying to figure out how to make our technology work against these aliens that were so much better than us. Now, we've retrofitted their technology, and it doesn't really feel like Independence Day anymore. It feels like another just sci-fi action movie. It feels more like something like Ender's Game 2 than it does Independence Day. Because Independence Day, we were using our tech and our stuff to give it almost like a little bit of a realistic feel. I mean, I use the term realistic very softly, but I still think that this film, it's so jarring to now have all this. I mean, human beings have lasers, we have hovercrafts, these weird things from that game Soma. It's really crazy. So then when the spaceship fights start to happen, it looks cool, but it's a little hard to keep track, and it also doesn't really have that feel of us versus them now. And it just kind of took it in such a radical direction. Granted, it wasn't a direction I thought they would ever do, but it took it in that direction that just confused me to no end. So it took a little time to adjust to the fact that this is nothing like the first one, and now we have spaceships and lasers and X-Wings and that kind of stuff. So once I got past that, I had fun with it. But again, it doesn't feel like the first Independence Day. The only reason you know it's the first Independence Day sequel is because it has people from the first. That makes me go on to the cast. The cast is excellent. I personally did not miss Will Smith's character at all. So that to me was perfectly fine. But I did really like the new cast. The new cast, at first I was going, oh, you guys are going to be the guys that I want to just shove out of the screen and have Bill Pullman again be awesome, and he was in this movie. I forgot that I always underestimate Micah Monroe. And Micah Monroe is one of my favorite young actresses working today. She's gorgeous and she's talented, and she really carried weight playing the president's daughter. And Liam Hemsworth, he's right now just the Sam Worthington or Jai Courtney of this movie. He's there. And he's not bad, he's not good, he's just there. The guy they got for Will Smith's son, I've never seen him act before, but he didn't really have the charisma that Will Smith himself had, so it was a little bit tough to live up to that. But then you have the original cast, and Jeff Goldblum carries so much weight in this movie, and he does it really good. The movie itself was fun. The plot was a little disjointed, though. It felt like they started to want to bite off more than they can chew. So the pacing in the movie is kind of like slow beginning, things go nuts, and then the plot just kind of does this, and then it just sort of re-straightens out with a linear story again. And you're like, oh, okay, so we're not in the third act. Like, there was a spot in the movie that we were only like an hour in. I was like, how are we now to the third act? And it turns out that we weren't. But that is the kind of situation with the plot, where it's kind of all over the place. But in Independence Day, I didn't really go in expecting a good plot. I got good special effects, I got characters that I liked, and I got good action. I can't say what I want to say without spoiling. So the third act has kind of two parts. The second part of the third act is so random that I in the theater went, am I watching the same movie? I don't think I am. Like, it almost feels like they took a chunk from another movie and just kind of threw it on the end of this movie. It was weird, but I was still entertained during it. But if you want to know, I might reference it later. Probably in a discussion video I have coming up, probably in a week or so. So that is my very confused thoughts on the movie. I enjoyed it, but it isn't going to live up to the legacy of Independence Day 1. Would I see it again? Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a fun movie. And in a year where we've had so much crap, that this actually, you know, it was just an enjoyable time. I didn't want to punch myself in the face after I saw the movie. So I'm gonna say that Independence Day Resurgence, you'd enjoy it at a discount viewing. Like a matinee, or a $3 theater, or one of those kinds of places. So if you have one of those around and it's showing Independence Day Resurgence at some point, go check it out. Alright guys, gals, and everything in between, thank you so much for watching my review. Can't wait to see you next time. I have a review that I'm playing catch up on. That one will be up soon. So until next time, love you guys.